Hi, well, I'm in the kitchen at the minute, and what I thought I'd show you is what I'm going to do with these Roma tomatoes that we gathered at the weekend. Now, I'm not going to turn this channel into a cookery channel, but I just thought I'd briefly show you what I'm going to do with these. So, we got all these Roma tomatoes that we picked at the weekend, and what I'm going to do, let me just move the camera down a little bit. So I'm going to take the tomatoes and I'm going to cut them into half. Then I'm just going to put the halves onto this tray. Just take the stalks off. Oh, I'll even do this little one. Don't know what that is, it's coming out though. So I'm hoping I'm going to get a lot more of these. This is what I actually had in mind for these when I planted them. I hope these big ones are not too big. Or I won't be able to get the lid on. Okay, so I've got the tray full of tomatoes. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sprinkle them with a little bit of salt. And this will help the drying out process. Then what I'll do is I'll put these in the dehydrator and we'll leave them for a couple of days until they get they dry out and get a bit more than leathery, more crisp than leather. So that goes on there like that. Yeah, that should be okay. Can I get another tray on? I might actually chance that, just put that tray on like that. See if I can get all these done at the one time. These are quite big, so they may actually take more than a couple of days to dry out. But we'll set them off and see how they get on. Okay, so we're now ready to make step two of storing our sun-dried tomatoes in oil for preserving them for later. So let me just show you the tomatoes at the minute. as you can see, or hear, they're all completely dry and crisp. In fact, there's a good way to tell is if you try and squeeze it to see if there's any movement, and that there's no movement, these are completely dry. So the next step is going to be to rehydrate them. So yeah, I know it sounds strange, but that's what we're going to do. At the minute, these are real crisp and brick hard. You would break your teeth if you tried to eat these. So what we're going to do is I've got a pan of 1 litre of water and 125 millilitres of white vinegar boiling on the stove. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop these in the pan for 2 minutes to rehydrate, so they go soft, so they're at a good stage for eating. I'm then going to dry them, and I'm going to put them in the jars. Let me bring you a bit closer and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I've used my steamer to steam the jars for 20 minutes to sterilise them. The jars and the lids, I've now put them in this little oven to dry, because we don't want any moisture whatsoever. We want all the water out whatsoever. So this is the pan of water and white vinegar, and this is a pan of extra virgin olive oil that I'm just warming up gently. Don't need it boiling, we just need it, I don't know, 50 degrees or so, like that. But this pan of water and vinegar needs to be boiling. So I'm going to turn this back on. Get my tomatoes. And here we go. I'll set the timer for 2 minutes. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to rehydrate those. We're going to put them out on some of these clean tea towels, and we're going to blot them dry again. We're then going to pack the jars, which are sterilised and dry. That should be them ready. And then we're going to pour some warm oil over the top to fill them up and put the lids on the jars. You can put some herbs or other seasonings inside if you wish, but you have to be careful. If you store the tomatoes in the oil, that's fine, they'll store for a long time, there'll be no risk. We're talking about botulism here, there'll be no risk of botulism. If you introduce anything with water or moisture, water mostly, yeah, water, then you could run the risk of introducing botulism to your jar and making yourself sick. So if you wanted to use herbs such as basil, what's the other Italian one? Come to me in a minute. Garlic, you could use dried garlic salt, not the actual cloves of garlic, but dried garlic salt. You could possibly use a chilli if you wanted, a dried chilli. Let me just turn this down. So if you wanted to put some dried herbs in, but they must be dry, they can't be fresh, then you could put them in at the same time as you're putting the tomatoes in before you put the oil in. But I don't have any dry herbs at the minute. It's 2 minutes up. So I'm just going to pack mine in oil. So let me just go and drain these and get them out, and I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, I'm back again, and I'll just show you what I've got down here. So what I've done is I've taken the tomatoes out, I've put them on here, and I've blotted between two tea towels, and I've blotted them dry. I've a little tip: if you're going to block them dry on tea towels, don't pick the ones that your wife, partner, husband, whoever has just bought. Pick ones they don't actually care about, otherwise you get an earful, just like I've just got. To show you the difference, you start off with one of these Roma tomatoes, and this is what you end up with. You cut the tomato in half, sprinkle it with salt, dehydrate it over a few days, and this is what you end up with. As you can see now, these are quite pliable, they're like leather, so they're not the crisp that they were before. So we're going to now pack these into a jar. I'm going to start with this little jar, and as I said, I'm not using any herbs, only because I don't have any. The other herb I was thinking about earlier, which I couldn't think of, is of course oregano, which I don't have any this year. So I'm just going to pack these little jars. So if you think about how one tomato makes this much dried tomato, there's quite a lot of actual tomatoes here to start with. Okay, so I've got that in there. I've got my hot oil in a jug so it doesn't go all over the place. I'll just get a teaspoon, pour that down so it's in the oil. And there we have it, there's our first jar. So all I've got to do with this now is I've just got to label it, put the date on it, and put it somewhere safe for I don't know, a couple of months to let the flavour develop, I suppose. The year I got a huge big glut of tomatoes. I wish I'd known about this. It would have saved me a lot of not heartache, but a lot of trouble of trying to give people tomatoes. I didn't want to throw any away, it was just such a bumper crop, but there was just too many for one person. Yeah, I'm going to need more oil, so I'll just pack these jars first. So I've got 2.5 little jars there. Well, I hope you find that interesting. It's just another way of storing the fresh fruit and veg that we grow, storing it so we can use it again later in the year. I know that come December time, we know when I'll take my salad to work, it'd be nice to have some of my own homegrown tomatoes in oil and with my salad. So I'm looking forward to that actually. But if you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment if you want, subscribe. I'd like it if you could subscribe. But as I said, this is mostly a garden show. I'm not going to be making it into a cookery show as well. A garden channel actually, not a show. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to go now, but thanks for watching and I'll see you all soon.